Hello and welcome back. President-elect Donald Trump is backing up his Doge brethren, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, and a big MAGA brouhaha over the H-1B visas for foreign workers. The soon-to-be 47th president saying, quote, "I've always liked the visas. I've always been in favor of the visas. That's why we have them. I have many H-1B visas on my properties. I've been a believer in H-1B. I've used it many times. It's a great program." Meanwhile, Elon Musk argues the visa program is key for American companies to find top talent that they can't always get from the U.S. workforce, and has even vowed to go to war over the issue, telling one opponent, ever so politely, to go F yourself in the face. Well, that's fun. However, Musk has conceded that the program is indeed broken, and Republican Senator Eric Schmidt warning the program is ripe with fraud. Watch this.
I think the abuses of the H-1B program have been evident, where you have sort of the sons and daughters of those factory workers who lost their jobs, got white-collar jobs as accountants, and then are, training their replacements, the foreign workers who are undercutting their wages. So I think the solution here, President Trump has actually articulated as 2020, is to reform that system and get rid of the abuses, make it merit-based, and make sure that we're not undercutting wages and having, Americans train their foreign replacements.
All right, so Katie, if the argument is between Ann Coulter and Elon Musk, I'm going to side with Elon because he's got a more rational argument here. Part of the problem is in American schools and colleges and universities, they're not producing a lot of engineers. They're producing a lot of women's studies majors who are anti-Semites on some campuses. So we need more engineers. So how are you going to entice the smartest engineers in the world, but for a program like this?
Well, first, the deportation list for violent criminal aliens in this country starts at 600,000. So that is what the president campaigned on. That is their focus. And when you work for the president, which Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy do now, you want to try to not create political headaches for your boss before you even get started. That's the first thing. But the question is, why is it that the talent pool is not available among Americans in the United States? And the answer, of course, is education. Whether it starts in preschool and goes all the way up through college and our graduate programs. We do not incentivize people to go into engineering. We incentivize them to go into social justice degrees, which then the American taxpayer ends up paying for because they don't give them a return on investment in a high-paying job like in engineering. And that is the heart of the problem. So I don't like the insults about American culture. I think we can all do better. I think you can be a jock. You can still have a 4.5 GPA and try to get into the best schools. But also, the universities are discriminatory against those who want to go to engineering schools based on your race and your sex.
And if your parents have college degrees.
Outside of things that should actually matter in terms of merit and what you want to do. So the bottom line is the education system in America is trash. You'll say, we dumped so much money into it, and it is worse than it was 20 years ago. And that is why people are not going into these fields, because of the incentives. So you have to change the incentive structure and stop pushing kids into debt for $500,000 to get a worthless degree that gets them nowhere when it comes to building American economies and working at places like SpaceX.
So, I know that Democrats and liberals are just ravenous for this argument because they see this as a big fissure in the Republican Party, at least the MAGA wing. But I actually think it's a good thing. I think that if President Biden had had more honest conversations about the failures in the immigration program in this country, maybe we wouldn't be in the position we're in. I think it's actually smarter to have some intellectual discussions and have some philosophical differences because they're actually resolving them in real time.
The immigration problem certainly was an issue that the president and all Democrats and Republicans should resolve. And one of the ways to do that is, with the congressional authority to not have people come here to apply for asylum. They can do it in their home country. That'll take off a huge chunk. That's not the visa. That's not what Americans were concerned about on the left or the right. No offense, Katie, I have two kids that are going to be going to college. My kids hate me right now. If I say the word college, they, don't want to talk to me. They leave the room. MIT, Harvard, Stanford have some of the most brilliant minds in the world. They have huge engineering programs. And they're not just
schools.
recruiting people into engineering, not just these schools, other schools. They're recruiting women because engineering for many, many years has been very male. My daughter is in a STEM college preparatory school right now, and they are really trying to get girls into the STEM programs, of which engineering is one. So I would disagree with you there. Regarding this, it offends me as an American that we say that we don't. Look, we want the best and the brightest, but I think we do have the best and the brightest in some of these incredible places of education. MIT is the best college in the world, not just in the United States, in the world. This is not disputed by anybody in any country.
Yeah, Trump's uncle taught there.
Throughout the world, huh?
Trump's uncle taught there.
Right, really. And I dated a guy who went there. Charlie, I mean, what's the point? Yeah, what's the point in that?
This is beyond my pay grade. I know OPP. I don't know. This is, sorry.
Yeah, you know me.
You know me.
Yeah.
Do I ever?
But at the end of the day, what I think happened here, and this is
We
how
don't have
I
enough
perceive
engineers.
it.
I know we have some
at the
very
end of the-
prestigious engineering
Right.
programs and DEI. Yay, boobies. They want as many
No,
women
I'm
as
not
possible.
talking DEI.
It's like, who cares if the bridge falls apart? She had over.
I'm not
get it.
talking DEI. And wouldn't Vivek and some of the other people that have been
I'm glad
insulted
that your
in the
children
Indian
are going to
communities,
get
South
engineering
Asian
degrees. That's
community,
very important for
be
the future of the
considered
country.
DEI?
But 40% of America can't read, okay? That's a reason, and we have a public education system that does not incentivize them, not to mention get them ready to go to an institution like Harvard or MIT.
Yeah, which are filled, the engineering programs, with international students. Charlie, take it from here.
So I love this whole debate. I think it's a very constructive debate. My favorite thing about it, I think, is that it is happening entirely within the Republican Party. It's happening entirely within the MAGA wing of the Republican Party. They're the only ones that are recognizing that this is a real existential problem for the country. And of course, Donald Trump is the first president to come along in decades to recognize that. And the only solution that Democrats have been able to offer is, well, let's open the border to millions of unknown, unskilled laborers to come across the border. Well, that's not a solution. That makes it all infinitely worse. The other thing that I love about this is that the political press had nothing to do with causing this debate, which is kind of what the press is supposed to do. Instead, this whole thing is played out on Twitter or whatever it's called, X, on X, among these people in the Republican Party who recognize that this is a real big problem. And personally, the question is whether or not the program is solving a problem or just another way to get cheap labor into the country. And I know of all the politicians that have come along, Donald Trump is the only one that I would trust to actually look at this with a responsible eye and come up with the solution.
But Elon doesn't want it fixed because he benefits from what you're talking about.
He's not the president.
Does he ever?
Yeah.
And it's beyond the Republican Party. Biden actually weighed in on the visas. He says he prefers MasterCard. And he wants everybody to use it. He's like, I don't understand the whole hullabaloo. They give you better interest rates. It's a bad situation. Meritocracy. That's the magic word here when we talk about reforming the system, when you talk about Elon Musk's preference. Whenever we take this reductive approach to like, oh, he wants the tax code this way because it favors the billionaire. Elon Musk is worth a gazillion dollars. Okay, he is not prioritizing an immigration policy based on how it affects him financially because he's beyond effect at this point. He's that rich, okay? So rich, he's now using people as furniture. You go over his house, there's people to sit on in place of a sofa. He's that rich. The point is he recognizes that his company succeeded because he had the best people in the most impactful positions. And it's possible to admit there's an engineer shortage without denigrating the colleges here in America. Yes, we have 3 or 4 big-time engineering schools, maybe 20 more that I'm forgetting because I went to community college and majored in intro to Nintendo. But the point is, there are grown-up engineers out there, and we need to prioritize the foreign labor and the foreign-born engineers coming here based on meritocracy. That's it. Reform the system. I'm happy the debate played out in public. This is what was always supposed to be happening.
Yeah, but when the Republican Party says they're taking our jobs, and then you have the president of the United States coming in, the president-elect Donald Trump, who is a Republican, saying, "Yeah, I agree with you. They are taking your jobs, and they shouldn't."
That's
and
not
then
what he
Elon
said.
calls
That's
them up
not
and
what he
basically
said.
says, "No, you do
That's not what
like
he
that."
said.
Not saying
Oh
it
yes,
that
I
way.
do
No,
like it. And I avoid these people.
maybe it is a more complex situation than opponents would like to present it as. And maybe we want the best engineers in the world because if America is going to win the AI race, we're going to need our best people on it. Up next, they don't call him greasy for nothing. Gavin Newsom is trying to take a victory lap on a crime crackdown he didn't even back. That's next.